After watching the presidential debate last week, I was skeptical and anxious about the vice presidential debate. And I was wondering what it was gonna be like. Well, I thought it went well. I thought that both candidates at times would not yield to the moderator when their time was up, especially Mike Pence. The moderator at times have to be kept saying, Mr. Vice President, please, please. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Thank you, Mr. Vice President, for him to stop. And I think that was a little bit too much. Now, both candidates came on making their point. Senator Harris took the time reminding Americans that the president and the vice president knew from in January or February, early February, that the virus was airborne, and they did not relay that to the American people. And she reiterated the fact that if Americans had known that, then we would have saved some lives. People would have acted differently. And she hammered that point home.
Administration in the history of our country. And here are the facts. 210,000 dead people in our country in just the last several months. Over 7 million people who have contracted this disease. 1 in 5 businesses closed. We're looking at frontline workers who have been treated like sacrificial workers. We are looking at over 30 million people who in the last several months had to file for unemployment. And here's the thing. On January 28th, the vice president and the president were informed about the nature of this pandemic. They were informed that it's lethal in consequence, that it is airborne, that it will affect young people, and that it would be contracted because it is airborne. And they knew what was happening and they didn't tell you. Can you imagine if you knew on January 28th, as opposed to March 13th, what they knew, what you might have done to prepare?
Vice President Pence, well, he went there singing the old same song that they've been singing. Vice President, on the other hand, is singing the old same Trump song that he and Trump wrote together. We close the border, the economy is strong, and a vaccine is coming. Same old, nothing new. Same old thing defending the president, still saying that they did an excellent job. The vice president said nothing new that voters could get excited about. Same thing that they've been saying, close the border and promising a vaccine. That's it. There were moments when Senator Harris hammered her point home very well. And she pointed out that if they had really respected the American people, then from day one they would have been telling them the truth, because that is indeed what the Americans deserve, and they could have told the truth no matter what. And she was saying that with a great leader, no matter what, he tells the truth. So I think she made her point, brought up her point and hammered them home. Pence brought up that in 2009, he was saying that 60 million people contracted the swine flu in 2009. But clearly that cannot be compared to the COVID crisis. But clearly that cannot be compared to the COVID crisis that's currently going on. Points that the senator hammered home and what she felt strongly about was police reform. And they're talking about free community college for the first 2 years. She's talking about decriminalizing marijuana, uniting the country. And of course, they're gonna raise the taxes on the wealthy. Overall, I thought it was a good debate. I hope the president can learn something from this so that he can do better in his next debate. When Pence was asked about conceding the election, he had this to say. Take a listen.
And first and foremost, I think we're going to win this election because while Joe Biden and Kamala Harris rattle off a long litany of the establishment in Washington, D.C., an establishment that Joe Biden's been a part of for 47 years, President Donald Trump has launched a movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life. And I have every confidence that those same Americans that delivered that historic victory in 2016, they see this president's record where we rebuild our military, we revived our economy through tax cuts and rolling back regulation, fighting for fair trade, unleashing American energy. We appointed conservatives to our federal courts at every level. And we stood with the men and women of law enforcement every single day. And I think that movement of Americans has only grown stronger in the last 4 years. But when you talk about accepting the outcome of the election, I must tell you, Senator, your party has spent the last 3.5 years trying to overturn the results of the last election. It's amazing. When Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, the FBI actually spied on President Trump and my campaign. I mean, there were documents released this week that the CIA actually made a referral to the FBI documenting that those allegations were coming from the Hillary Clinton campaign. And of course, we've all seen the avalanche, what you put the country through for the better part of 3 years until it was found that there was no obstruction, no collusion, case closed. And then Senator Harris, you and your colleagues in the Congress tried to impeach the President of the United States over a phone call.
So there's not going to be any conceding because they will win. We wait and we see. If you watched the debate, this is my take on it. What's your take? Let me know by putting them down in the comments below. Kindly like, share, subscribe, and as usual, please be safe. Thank you for watching.